Hello, it's May 2024. The following in brief. False allegations can be for many reasons by anyone. Generally speaking, women falsely accuse men of something as a weapon to achieve something. This weapon can also be used, and is used, by proxy. A false accuser uses others to achieve their outcome. For example, telling someone, a busybody, a false narrative, who then escalates matters by telling someone in a position of authority, a glorified busybody. This creates a big gap between the victim of the false allegation and themselves. This allows them protection from repercussions and a scapegoat if things go sideways. The false accuser may go to someone in a position of authority directly. However, the gap between them and the accuser is less, meaning less for them to rely on to escape consequences if found out. The glorified busybody relies on a defense. They proceeded based on the information given to them, further saying they have no reason not to believe, etc. The same defense is used by those in positions of authority. The only person left on the bad end of the stick is the victim of false allegations. The police, justice system, and governing bodies don't care about victims of false allegations because it creates work for them, while furthering social justice nonsense and political agendas. An angle not often discussed is how the weapon of false allegations is used as a weapon, not by an alleged victim, but rather by others using an alleged victim for their own agendas. Others include, but not limited to, social justice types. However, where this is used most is by those who want to silence someone. This ranges from false accusations by police officers to protect themselves from wrongdoings to powerful people not wanting to be exposed for their deeds. Ultimately, false accusations lead to wrongful convictions by using law. Oftentimes, laws and case laws are circumvented under the illusion of justice. This does not state or imply everyone is in on agendas. At times, they can only rely on information known to them. Thus, they make uninformed conclusions based on their limited knowledge bases. Where things become worse is when they lack critical thinking skills, extensive knowledge base, and cannot separate emotions when making conclusions. Something we observe with most people in society, and this leads into social justice movements, often based on women and feminized beta men. For some, they deliberately turn a blind eye, relying on the defense of plausible deniability. False accusations and wrongful convictions impact not only the victim of the said, but those in their lives and society overall. I've spent over a decade whistleblowing first-hand knowledge of police, judicial, and political corruption from several perspectives, as a former insider and being on the receiving end of injustice. What also separates me and my story from others who are victims of false allegations and wrongful convictions is the fact I have detailed documentation supported with a plethora of independent evidence of how these injustices occur from start to finish, whereas most others do not. I have shared these things over the past decade at the cost of myself. To know my efforts is to know who I am or was. My videos and groups share a plethora of independent evidence of myself and my story. I do have videos that some may deem controversial and triggering. I'll get over it. But my focus has been to share information to help others. My efforts have no happy ending for me, as my latest efforts that began in 2012 has left me partly disabled and destitute as I live in the aftermath. For anyone interested, the introduction video to my channel tells my story, and the video shorts expand on it, focusing on highlights. I made a commitment to help the common person, and despite my thoughts on this now, which is absolute regret, I continue. In the late 1990s, I exposed the worldwide sex trafficking of women, which cost me the woman I married, as she was sex trafficked from overseas to Africa. In the mid-2000s, I walked away from being groomed to be among the elites of the world and exposed what I learned. In 2012, I began whistleblowing about the sex trafficking of vulnerable women at a nonprofit organization that eventually led to a false narrative, the female central to my story being used for a false allegation that led to my being beaten by two, now former police officers to silence me, leaving me partly disabled, to false accusations by them of alleged obstruction and assaulting a police officer, which I was wrongfully convicted of, so they had their defense for the lawsuit. I began whistleblowing as a former insider about police, judicial, and political corruption, showing how people are railroaded into being wrongfully convicted, while showing how easy it is to falsely accuse someone, all of which destroyed me personally and professionally, also leaving me destitute for over a decade. I cannot obtain employment reflecting my education or career history, nor can I do physical work due to the injuries by the two former officers. Very few people seem to care about me or my story, because as a male, I am disposable. I've shared a plethora of independent evidence in my videos, yet, despite everything, I still continue to fight for truth and justice for the people, like a fool for a stupid, unthankful civilization. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Do you get it now?
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.